Hello, and welcome to the newest Godzilla figure review. Today, I have the GODZIBURST Godzilla 1954 and Anguirus 1972 figures from Bandai Namco. Now, I'll be unboxing and reviewing both figures today, but just before I do that, I'd like to take a look at their packaging since these are figures from a brand new line of Godzilla toys that I'm very excited for. So, first, let's take a look at 1954 Godzilla. So right here, you see the figure very plainly through this large plastic box, and then you also get a little image of it that's put through a bit of a filter right here on the box. That, of course, corresponds to the related figure along with the GODZIBURST logo and the name of the figure along with their category. As far as I can tell, GODZIBURST has multiple categories that figures fall into, with 1954 Godzilla falling into this sort of golden one with a Godzilla image on it. Turning the box around, we see more from GODZIBURST, such as more figures in the line, a specific shot of 1954 Godzilla showing off his articulation, and a QR code from Bandai Namco. Additionally, there's multiple regular toy information on the back, and it's pretty standard for a regular package, but it's pretty interesting. Also, it has a bit of what looks like statistics right here, along with the category image that I talked about before. For Anguirus, he comes with the exact same open, I guess, like cube clear box where you can clearly see the figure, along with another illustration image, and then the name and the category, which seems to correspond with red volcanoes. And then what's interesting is that the name is also corresponding to the same color as the category. And you see here, 1954 Godzilla had a golden name tag, while Anguirus has a red one, just like their categories. Turning the box around, you get the same promo image as 1954 Godzilla, a specific image of Anguirus, and then the same QR code, same basic information, but you also get the same sort of category and statistical information. Still need to sort of read up on GODZIBURST and its specific toy line, specific things, but this is very interesting to me so far. So, with this out of the way, let's get both of these guys opened up. As a quick reminder, I've noticed that most of my audience tends to compile of entirely new viewers of my channel and not regulars. I would greatly appreciate it if all new viewers would, of course, like and subscribe, as it would greatly boost my channel along with hyping this video if you would like. While I appreciate all of my audience, I would also appreciate channel growth, and it would be amazing to see new viewers become permanent subscribers. I hope that you enjoy this content and continue to watch it. Additionally, I have noticed that many of my viewers do come from non-English speaking countries, and this has been something I've known about before, and in the past I would take, of course, measures to accommodate via subtitles, and I would just like to remind everyone that yes, subtitles are available on these videos in different languages, and I will make sure to add more. And so, here's 1954 Godzilla and 1972 Anguirus right out of the box. And first impressions, I think that these both look pretty good for 3-inch little Godzilla figures that are pretty articulated. I think they're also pretty moderately accurate to their respective designs, with Godzilla, of course, being his specific first iteration 1954 look, which I think looks pretty accurate to the Shodai suit, along with being in black and white, and I don't know, I just always like it when they have Shodai and he's in black and white. And then you have Anguirus, who's in his 1972 Godzilla vs. Gigan look, and he's pretty accurate to the actual movie, although there is a bit of missing paint on his horn, which kind of sucks. But yeah, I think these guys look pretty well for what they're supposed to be, which is little Godzilla figurines for younger kids. Focusing on Godzilla, he stands at about 3 inches tall, and like I said, is pretty good looking for a tiny figure. What I would have appreciated is more dorsal plate paint on like each section of it, like the neck and the tail dorsal plates along with the toes. I think that it's kind of unusual how Anguirus is allowed to have painted toes, but Godzilla is not. It's just something sort of strange to me. For articulation, Godzilla is capable of fully turning his head around in a nice 360. Next, his arms can swivel very nicely. Then his chest is also capable of doing a full 360 turn. His dorsal plates are kind of malleable. They're not really able to be like moved around a lot, but they are pretty soft, so you won't be hurting yourself when you're moving this guy around. Additionally, his legs can turn a full 360 if you just move the arms out of the way. Just like that. And then finally, the tail is also able to move a full 360. Very easily, just like that. Honestly, I think it's pretty astounding how this little figure has more articulation in it than many other figures its same size. And it also kind of puts Sofubai, or soft vinyl Godzilla figures, to shame with its articulation, because it has articulation that is very similar, like in the arms or in the legs. But then it also includes waist articulation, and something that you don't even get anymore with a lot of them, a full-on head, neck, and tail articulation. While you might still get waist articulation sometimes, you almost never get like head or tail articulation a lot of the times, and I think that's kind of strange. Also, waist articulation, I saw like it seems like a lot of them can't turn their waists around anymore, which is really weird to me, and I don't know why they wouldn't have that. But yeah, for this Godzilla figure, I would say he's mostly a sized down, good soft vinyl Godzilla figure, like movie monster series figure, at their best, I guess. But yeah, if you're looking for a tiny little Godzilla with a bunch of articulation, well, more articulation than you would usually expect, then this is a great figure, I'd say. So now I will move on to Anguirus, since I really don't have that much to talk about. So, of course, next up is Anguirus. Anguirus, much like Godzilla, has full-on head articulation and tail articulation, along with surprisingly having waist articulation, which I did not think would occur. I thought that it would be one huge piece, but no, it is full-on waist articulation, which I really like. He also has arm articulation, which can almost swivel a full 360, but this joint just popped out, but hey, you can luckily just pop right back in. And then articulation in the thighs, although you're not going to get that much out of him. Though, what's surprising is that he does have lower or rear leg articulation. Would you look at that? He has little knee articulation right there, so he can kick and stand on his hind legs, surprisingly. How many times have you ever seen Angurius standing on his hind legs? I don't remember seeing that all that much. But yeah, look, they can have a normal conversation with Godzilla almost at eye level. That's strange. But yeah, that is very surprising to me and something that I don't see a lot with Anguirus figures that are, you know, on the cheaper side. Usually, like, in the waist, it's one piece, and then the legs, you're only going to get that thigh and shoulder articulation, and then maybe you'll get some tail articulation and head articulation. But yeah, getting all of that plus a little bit more, it's really surprising to me, and it's making me really, really like this Anguirus figure. Even though it's out of scale with what I usually collect, it's still pretty great and a lot better than what I was expecting. I think that's really amazing. I may be falling in love with these guys, but I still have some complaints. But what could they be? Well, starting back with Godzilla, I already talked about how much his lack of paint bothers me, but it is still something that, like, insanely bothers me. Like, look, on the back right here, there's a line of gray from the natural plastic color that just really takes me out, and just, I don't like it. And then I feel like that paint could be spread onto the back of the head, and then around the tail on the dorsal blades here. And then I feel like, why does Anguirus have to be the only one with painted nails? Why can't Godzilla also have his nails be painted white? And then he could have also had his chest be lighter, which it is. It's supposed to be a bit lighter right here. Additionally, I feel like there could have been a better effort to sort of show that there's color in the mouth. I thought that it was unpainted, but no, it turns out there is a red tongue. You can just barely see it, and I feel like they should have put in more of an effort to, like, be able to see the inside of the mouth, or, like, apply that paint somewhere else that would be more visible, you know? Could have also gone to the brows and such. Additionally, I feel like the arm right here is kind of awkward. The arms are awkward in general because one is longer than the other. This one is the left arm. This one is the right arm. Now, the right arm is it's in a 90-degree angle, sort of. So it's like at his sides and like this. And this looks pretty natural for a Godzilla. The left arm is it's a bit more stretched out. It's not as tucked in. So it's also in that, more perfect 90-degree angle. It looks better. Sometimes, kind of. And it also just works. But having the arms be mismatched, I don't know, it just looks weird. It doesn't really, I don't know what this pose Godzilla's doing is really supposed to be. It just has one arm crouched in, the other, or tucked in, the other arm more outstretched for some reason. And it's just kind of weird to me, and I feel like they should have chosen one arm or the other. For Anguirus, I have a bit of the same problems with Godzilla. Paint applications. The horn right here has a splotch of brown still poking out, which is really annoying, and then little bits of yellow on the nose right here, which I feel like they should have done a better job of applying. Also, it's kind of weird how Anguirus gets painted nails, but then also no sort of I guess you didn't really need to paint the hide, but you could have tried painting the tail spikes. Also, I thought that this head, actually, this is kind of a me problem. I thought this mouth could move, but it turns out it can't. I'm not supposed to move it. It just kind of looked like it moved a little. That's on me. And then a more serious problem is how easy it is to accidentally pop out the arms. And I was making the poses for these videos. I accidentally popped out these arms multiple times. They're not popping out here for some reason, but yeah, when I was like trying to, oh, you see right there on camera, they can pop out super easily because of the hide, and it's really annoying when you're trying to pose these little guys, but then the arms and legs just start popping out because of the hide right here, pushing them and causing them to just slide out of their sockets. Oh, right there, the waist moved and helped it move along. But yeah, that's just an annoying issue with Anguirus. How easily these arms just tend to pop out for me, at least. And then also, the eyes are a bit weirdly colored. They have like he has like blue irises, and it looks really good close up on camera. I don't know why they gave Anguirus so much like paint, love, and dedication, and then like Godzilla gets normal amounts that you would expect, but then Anguirus gets like all these extra decals. But then I think this also kind of doesn't work in Anguirus's favor, because it looks good up close, but then you look at it from far away and it like kind of turns into like a blurry mess for me. Maybe that's just my eyesight. So with all of this in mind, should you buy GODZIBURST figures just based off of these two and the sort of standard that they set? I would say, yes, but discounted. Now then, I was personally sold these by Beast of These Collectibles, not sponsored, and they sold them to me each for $15, which means that this duo was $30. And, geez, for just like $30, that doesn't really feel like I got $30 worth in this. So I would much rather these figures be either 10 or $5 to $10, that range. I think that's a lot better for these two. They're definitely like better than normal like miniatures because of the amount of articulation they hold, along with the, see, with the extra articulation you usually don't even get out of like $25 Godzilla figures, and just how nice they look. But still, $30 for just two of them, I feel like that's a bit much. So if you're looking to collect a whole line of GODZIBURST figures, I would definitely recommend trying to get discounted prices, and definitely not going for anything higher than $15. I remember at G-Fest seeing vendors selling GODZIBURST figures for $30, and that's just way too high in my opinion for these guys. They are definitely not like, and that was just one Mothra GODZIBURST figure, which doesn't have that much articulation, for like $30 and a few like accessories. That is not worth it in my opinion, and I would much rather recommend you get like either collect a different line, or like I've been saying, get discounts. I think discounts are the name of the game, and I do still like these guys, even though I feel like I paid a bit too much for them. That's my review of GODZIBURST Godzilla 1954 and Anguirus 1972. I hope you thoroughly enjoyed this video, and you'll continue to watch more of them. You can find videos like these, or I guess just miscellaneous videos, on Instagram at egonzilla.yt. I hope to see you there, and I hope to see you again. Thank you. Goodbye.